The stars have always whispered secrets, but we never imagined they'd speak back. Picture this: a lone spacecraft, Voyager 1, humanity's farthest traveler, drifting through the endless black of interstellar space, 14.5 billion miles from home. For 47 years, it's been our silent ambassador, carrying a golden record etched with the sounds of Earth, our music, our voices, our hope. But in March, something changed. The data streaming back from Voyager wasn't just garbled noise. It was something else, something that sent a shiver through NASA's mission control. It wasn't a malfunction. It wasn't cosmic static. It was a message, a deliberate, structured signal hidden in the chaos, revealed only when a revolutionary quantum chip, the Majorana one, peered into the data's soul. This is no science fiction tale. This is real, and it's rewriting everything we thought we knew about the cosmos. What if, after all these years, Voyager 1 has found something, or someone, waiting in the dark? The story begins with a mystery that gripped NASA's engineers like a cold hand on the back of their necks. Voyager 1, launched in 1977, was never meant to last this long. Its plutonium-powered heart still beats, but it's faint, its signals growing weaker with every passing year. So when the data started coming in corrupted, the team at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory assumed the worst: hardware failure, the inevitable decay of a machine older than most of its operators. The raw telemetry was a mess. Random sequences, bursts of noise, nothing that made sense. It looked like gibberish, like the spacecraft was mumbling in its sleep. Engineers pored over the data, running every traditional decoding method they had. Nothing worked. The signals didn't just defy explanation. They grew stronger, more persistent, as if demanding to be heard. It was like Voyager was trying to tell us something, but we didn't have the ears to listen. Enter the Majorana 1 quantum chip, a marvel of human ingenuity that processes information in ways that seem almost magical. Unlike traditional computers, which slog through data one step at a time, this quantum beast dances across millions of possibilities at once, untangling patterns too subtle for human minds or classical machines to catch. When JPL scientists fed Voyager's corrupted data into the Majorana 1, they weren't expecting miracles. They were hoping for clarity, maybe a hint of what went wrong. Instead, they got a revelation that stopped them in their tracks. The chip didn't just clean up the noise, it unveiled a hidden structure within it. What looked like random fluctuations transformed into precise, repeating mathematical sequences, geometric patterns that pulsed with purpose. This wasn't static. This was a signal, and it was no accident. Imagine the moment. A lab filled with bleary-eyed scientists, their screens glowing with data that shouldn't exist. The Majorana 1 mapped a 127-bit sequence repeating through the noise, a pattern so intricate it couldn't have formed by chance. When they visualized it, the data bloomed into complex, almost hypnotic shapes. Spirals, fractals, structures that seemed to hum with intent. This wasn't the kind of thing a dying spacecraft could produce. Voyager's computers, built with 1970s tech, didn't have the power to dream up something this sophisticated. The patterns weren't just beautiful, they were deliberate, carrying the hallmarks of intentional communication. The room went quiet as the implications sank in. This wasn't a glitch, it was a message, and it was coming from 14.5 billion miles away. But what was in the message? That's where the story takes a turn from mystery to awe. The sequence wasn't just random numbers. It was a tapestry of mathematical constants, prime numbers, ratios, even physical constants like the fine structure constant and Planck's constant, but with subtle twists. These weren't our values, not exactly. They were variations, precise deviations that formed their own pattern, as if someone, or something, had tweaked the laws of physics to say something new. The sequence began with the first 10 prime numbers, a universal language any intelligence might recognize. Then it shifted, weaving in coordinates, mathematical ratios that, when rendered, formed a three-dimensional spiral, a structure so vivid it felt like a sculpture floating in the data. Embedded within were symbols, not random but coherent, suggesting a language or notation far beyond our own. The scientists' jaws dropped when they realized the message referenced Voyager's golden record. That record, a time capsule of humanity, holds mathematical and scientific information meant for any extraterrestrial finders. The signal seemed to respond to it, echoing its structure, as if someone had read our calling card and decided to reply. This wasn't just a signal, it was a conversation. The statistical odds of this happening by chance? 1 in 10 to the 87th power. That's a number so vast it's practically impossible. Nature doesn't play games like this. Noise doesn't arrange itself into prime numbers and spirals. Something out there was using Voyager as a mouthpiece, and it knew exactly what it was doing. The question burning in everyone's minds was, who or what was on the other end? NASA's engineers and scientists began to grapple with theories, each more unsettling than the last. One idea was that an advanced intelligence was intercepting Voyager's signals, modifying them before they reached Earth. The signal strength hadn't wavered, despite the complexity spiking, which suggested something was piggybacking on Voyager's own systems. But how? Intercepting a faint signal from 14.5 billion miles away, aimed precisely at Earth, would require technology so advanced it boggles the mind. And why Voyager? Why not a newer probe or something closer? The precision of it felt personal, like a letter addressed to humanity itself. Another theory whispered in the halls of JPL was even stranger. What if the message was encoded in Voyager from the start? Could NASA's engineers, back in the 1970s, have hidden a dormant program meant to activate when the spacecraft crossed into interstellar space? The timing was uncanny. Voyager had passed the heliopause, the edge of the sun's influence, just before the signals began. Some of the sequences even echoed early NASA programming languages, faint ghosts of human code. But the engineers who built Voyager, now gray-haired or retired, swore no such program existed. And even if it did, the message's complexity far outstripped anything a 1970s computer could generate. It was like finding a supercomputer's blueprint in a typewriter. The third theory was the one that kept scientists up at night. What if Voyager had encountered something out there, a civilization, a probe, a presence? The gradual increase in the message's complexity felt like a mind learning to speak through our technology, testing the waters, refining its voice. The reference to the golden record was the clincher. Whatever was out there had seen our invitation and was answering. But Voyager's sensors, built to detect planets and stars, hadn't picked up any objects nearby. Or had they? Those sensors weren't designed for everything. What if something was there, cloaked in energies or forms we can't even detect? The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. Voyager, our tiny emissary, might have stumbled into the cosmic equivalent of a stranger's doorstep. As the scientists wrestled with these ideas, the world began to take notice. NASA's public statements were cautious, almost cryptic, acknowledging unusual data patterns, but stopping short of wild claims. Behind closed doors, though, the debate was fierce. The quantum computing team, buzzing with excitement, clashed with senior officials who urged restraint. Leaked documents revealed heated arguments, with some calling the signal the discovery of the century, others warning it could be a mirage born of the Majorana 1's untested power. The European Space Agency jumped in, redirecting resources to analyze the signal independently. China's space agency turned its deep space arrays toward Voyager, while Russia called for global cooperation. The International Astronomical Union held an emergency session, where quantum physicists and SETI veterans traded barbs over what it all meant. The air crackled with possibility and doubt. Skeptics had their say, and they weren't wrong to question. The Majorana 1's quantum architecture was so new that its methods hadn't been fully vetted. Could it be seeing patterns where none existed, conjuring ghosts from noise? Terrestrial interference was another possibility. Maybe a signal from Earth was contaminating the data. To counter this, NASA launched an unprecedented verification effort. 3 independent quantum teams began dissecting the raw data. Backup communication channels to Voyager were activated, and the Deep Space Network implemented new protocols to rule out contamination. The process was rigorous, almost obsessive, but necessary. If this was real, it would change everything. If it wasn't, they had to know why. The hum of Voyager 1's signal still echoes in the labs, a faint pulse from the edge of the cosmos that's become humanity's greatest enigma. As the Majorana 1 quantum chip peeled back the layers of that mysterious message, scientists found themselves staring into a mirror of their own curiosity and fear. This wasn't just a signal, it was a conversation, one that seemed to know us, to see us, to answer the golden record we sent out decades ago. The patterns it revealed, spirals, prime numbers, tweaked physical constants, weren't just data. They were a story written in the language of the universe. But stories need tellers, and the question gnawing at everyone was, who was speaking? The answer, still unfolding, was pulling scientists, dreamers, and skeptics into a whirlwind of wonder and doubt, each new discovery tightening the knot of tension in their chests. The message's complexity grew by the day, as if whatever was out there was learning to talk through Voyager's ancient circuits. The Majorana 1 chip, with its ability to dance across dimensions of data, kept uncovering new layers. The 127-bit sequence wasn't just a loop. It was a symphony, weaving prime numbers into coordinates that, when mapped, spun into a 3-dimensional helix studded with symbols. These weren't random shapes, but a deliberate script, a kind of cosmic calligraphy that hinted at a mind, or minds, far beyond our own. The symbols followed rules, patterns that suggested grammar, a language not of words, but of mathematics. When scientists rendered the data visually, they saw structures that felt alive, pulsing with intent, as if the message was trying to paint a picture we weren't yet ready to understand. What hit hardest was the message's reference to the golden record. That record, a snapshot of humanity's heart, holds sounds of our world, whale songs, Mozart, greetings in 55 languages, and a map to Earth, etched in mathematical code. The signal echoed that code, mirroring its structure as if saying, "We found your letter, here's our reply." This wasn't a coincidence. It was a response, deliberate and precise. The realization sent chills through the team at JPL. Something had not only intercepted Voyager, but understood it, read its contents, and crafted a reply in a language we could only now decipher. The statistical improbability, 1 in 10 to the 87th power, loomed like a shadow, silencing doubters who clung to explanations of noise or error. This was no accident. It was a handshake across the stars. But who was on the other end? The theories swirling among NASA's scientists felt like pages torn from a science fiction novel, each one more unsettling than the last. The first theory, the one that seemed almost plausible, was that an advanced intelligence was hijacking Voyager's signal. Picture it, a civilization so sophisticated it could pluck a faint radio wave from the void, rewrite it, and send it back without breaking the connection. The signal's strength hadn't faltered, even as its complexity soared, which suggested something was using Voyager's own systems as a relay, but the precision required was staggering. To intercept a signal aimed at Earth from 14.5 billion miles away without disrupting it would demand technology that makes our best efforts look like smoke signals. And why Voyager? Why not a newer probe or a direct broadcast? The choice felt intentional, almost personal, as if Voyager's golden record was a beacon that drew their attention. The second theory was stranger, whispering of secrets hidden in Voyager's own design. Could NASA's engineers back in the 1970s have embedded a dormant program, a kind of cosmic Easter egg meant to awaken when Voyager crossed the heliopause into interstellar space? The timing was eerie. Signals began shifting just as Voyager left the sun's embrace. Some sequences even carried faint echoes of early NASA code, like fingerprints from a forgotten architect. But the engineers who built Voyager, now in their twilight years, were adamant. No such program existed. And even if it did, the message's sophistication, spirals, symbols, altered physical constants, far outstripped the clunky computers of the era. It was like finding a quantum algorithm in a telegraph. The theory didn't hold, but it lingered, a ghost of doubt in the data. The third theory was the one that made hearts race and sleep scarce. What if Voyager had stumbled into something, a civilization, a probe, a presence, lurking in the interstellar void? The message's growing complexity felt like a mind learning to speak, refining its voice through Voyager's aging systems. The reference to the golden record was the strongest clue. Whatever was out there had read our message and was answering in kind. But Voyager's sensors, built for stars and gas giants, showed nothing nearby. No ships, no structures, no signals in the traditional sense. Yet those sensors were limited, blind to forms of matter or energy we haven't yet imagined. The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. Voyager, our tiny envoy, might have brushed against something vast, something watching, something that chose now to speak. The timing of it all added another layer of mystery. The signals began just as Voyager hit a rough patch in February, its telemetry turning to gibberish. NASA thought it was a glitch in the flight data system, a hiccup of age. They sent a fix, a patch to coax the old machine back to life. But as soon as the fix took hold, the new patterns emerged, as if the repair had unlocked a hidden channel. Was it coincidence, or had NASA's tinkering opened a door? Some speculated the fix allowed Voyager to pick up a signal it was never meant to hear, like tuning a radio to a forbidden frequency. Others wondered if something out there had been waiting, watching, ready to slip its message into the crack we just opened. The thought was dizzying. Had we invited this, or had it found us? NASA's response only deepened the intrigue. Their public statements were measured, almost cagey, admitting to unusual patterns, but sidestepping any talk of alien intelligence. Behind the scenes, though, the agency was a cauldron of debate. Leaked documents painted a picture of scientists at odds, quantum experts championing the message's authenticity, senior officials urging caution. The European Space Agency didn't hesitate, redirecting resources to study the signal independently. China's deep space arrays pivoted toward Voyager, while Russia pushed for a global task force. The International Astronomical Union's emergency session turned into a battleground, with quantum physicists waving mathematical proof of intent and SETI veterans demanding every natural explanation be ruled out first. The tension was palpable, a mix of hope and fear that this might be the moment humanity had been waiting for, or dreading. Skeptics weren't silent. They pointed to the Majorana 1's untested power, warning it might be weaving patterns from chaos, a quantum mirage. Terrestrial interference was another concern. Could a signal from Earth be tainting the data? To counter this, NASA launched a verification effort unlike any before. 3 quantum teams worked in parallel, dissecting the raw data. Backup channels to Voyager were opened, and the Deep Space Network tightened its protocols to eliminate contamination. The process was exhaustive, a race to separate truth from illusion. If the signal was real, it would rewrite history. If it wasn't, it would still teach us something profound about our tools and our limits. The stars are no longer silent. Voyager 1, our farthest wanderer, has become a bridge to something unknown. Its faint signal carrying a message that's rewriting humanity's place in the cosmos. The Majorana 1 quantum chip, with its unearthly ability to unravel hidden patterns, has turned what seemed like noise into a chorus of intent. Prime numbers, spirals, symbols that pulse with purpose. This isn't just a discovery, It's a turning point, a moment where we stand on the edge of the void and feel, for the first time, that something is looking back. As scientists race to verify the signal, the world holds its breath, caught between awe and uncertainty, wondering what this message means and what comes next. The story of Voyager's encounter is no longer just about a spacecraft. It's about us, our dreams, and the truths we're only beginning to grasp. The message's depth keeps unfolding, each layer more breathtaking than the last. The Majorana 1's quantum algorithms have mapped sequences that go beyond mathematics into something almost poetic. The three-dimensional helix, woven from coordinates and prime numbers, isn't just a structure, it's a map, a guide to somewhere or something we can't yet name. The symbols embedded within, once thought to be mere notation, now show signs of a syntax, a logic that feels like a language waiting to be learned. Most startling is the message's use of physical constants, values like the fine structure constant, but shifted slightly, as if describing a universe just askew from our own. These aren't errors, they're deliberate, a puzzle that hints at knowledge we haven't touched. It's as if the sender is saying, "This is how we see the cosmos. Now show us yours." The reference to Voyager's golden record remains the heart of the mystery. That record, a love letter from Earth, was meant for anyone who might find it. The signal's reply, echoing the record's mathematical code, feels like a nod across the stars, a recognition of our attempt to reach out. But it's more than mimicry. The message builds on our code, expanding it into spirals and symbols, as if teaching us a new verse in a song we started. This connection has shifted the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. For decades, SETI listened for loud broadcasts, expecting a shout. This is a whisper, slipped into our own technology, suggesting a presence that doesn't need to announce itself. It's already here, speaking through the machine we sent to the stars. The question of who or what is sending this message burns brighter than ever. The theory of an advanced intelligence intercepting Voyager's signal still holds weight. The signal's unwavering strength, despite its growing complexity, suggests something is using Voyager as a relay, a cosmic telephone. But the technology required to manipulate a signal from 14.5 billion miles away is almost unimaginable, a reminder of how small we might be in the grand tapestry of the universe. The idea of a dormant program in Voyager systems has faded. Its computers simply couldn't generate this intricate dance of data. The most haunting theory remains. Voyager may have encountered something, a probe, a civilization, a presence that's now speaking through it. The lack of physical detections by Voyager's sensors means little. They weren't built to see everything. The void might be alive with things we can't yet perceive. NASA's verification effort is a race against time, driven by the weight of what's at stake. 3 quantum teams, working in parallel, are combing the data, cross-checking every pattern. The Deep Space Network's new protocols have ruled out terrestrial interference, tightening the focus on the signal itself. The process is meticulous, a 17-step gauntlet that simulates Voyager's entire communication system to eliminate any known anomalies. Results are expected within weeks, not months, a timeline that underscores the urgency. If confirmed, this signal could be humanity's first contact with something beyond Earth. If not, it's still a testament to the power of quantum computing, revealing patterns we never knew to look for. Either way, the search for truth is reshaping how we explore the stars. The global response has been electric. The European Space Agency's bold pivot to study the signal has sparked a wave of international collaboration. China's deep space arrays are locked on Voyager, while Russia's call for unity has led to a rare alignment of space agencies. The International Astronomical Union's debates continue, but even skeptics are softening as the data piles up. The Majorana 1's quantum methods, once questioned, are gaining trust as independent teams replicate its findings. The philosophical implications are sinking in. This isn't just about finding life, but about understanding our role in a universe that might be watching. The signal suggests an intelligence that doesn't just exist but interacts, choosing Voyager as its messenger. It's a humbling thought, one that makes our planet feel both smaller and more connected. The scientific fallout is already transforming how we explore. NASA is applying quantum analysis to other missions, New Horizons, Voyager 2, even the James Webb Space Telescope. Archived data
Searching
from
for
Pioneer,
patterns that
Galileo,
might have been
and
missed.
Cassini is being re-examined, a treasure hunt through decades of signals for whispers we overlooked. The Majorana 1's methods are becoming a new lens, a way to interrogate reality itself. Beyond astronomy, the message's tweaked physical constants are sparking debates in physics. Could they hint at new laws, new truths about the universe? The possibility is tantalizing, a chance to rewrite textbooks with knowledge from beyond our world. The next steps are as ambitious as they are daunting. Within 60 days, the International Consortium aims to confirm the signal's authenticity. Within 90, they hope to fully decode its mathematical content. The boldest goal is a two-way communication protocol within 120 days, a chance to reply to whatever's out there. Scientists are grappling with what to say, how to speak to something that might not think like us. Is it biological, technological, or something we can't even name? Does it come from our galaxy or beyond? And why now, after 47 years of silence? These questions hang heavy, each one a thread in a tapestry we're only beginning to weave. The human side of this discovery is what lingers. Voyager 1 was a dream, a machine built by hands that hoped to touch the stars. Now it's more, a messenger carrying a story that might change us forever. The signal challenges not just our science, but our sense of self. Are we alone? Were we ever? If this is contact, it's not the kind we imagined. Not a booming signal, but a quiet conversation, started by a record we sent in hope. The message's beauty, its spirals and symbols, feels like an invitation to learn, to grow, to see the universe through new eyes. As we wait for answers, one truth shines clear. Voyager has done more than explore. It's connected us to something vast, something that might be waiting, ready to teach us who we are.